10, 9, 8, 7.
Dark and difficult times lie ahead. Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
How you doing, folks? Only me, Pap. Right, first and foremost, before I get into this video, I've had a few comments recently. As the channel grows, I'm going to get a lot more different people come and join and subscribe, which is awesome. But I just want to point out that a lot of these comments have been saying to me, you know, stop talking through the video, just show the clip, you know, all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to change the way that I do things, certainly not yet anyway. And the reason being is because although YouTube wants creators to keep people on the platform as long as possible, in other words, create engaging content that goes on for as long as you possibly can to keep, you know, engagement and to keep people on YouTube, I'm not about that. I just want to give you the facts. I want to give you the information that's important. Some of you may find the way that I do things boring. Some of you may find it annoying. And I'm sorry about that, but that's just the way that I do what I do. I'm going to continue doing it the way that I do. If the clips are short, then I will put the clip in at the end so you can watch the whole thing. But the problem is lots of people are coming to this channel for the first time or are new to, you know, having their eyes open to the corruption and distrust that the police now have. And so I want to explain to people where the police are going wrong. I want to highlight these incidents and these situations, and that is why I talk sometimes over the video. It's why I sometimes stop the video and talk, but it's ultimately why the narration is in the video at all, is to try and help educate people and show them where the police are failing or where the people of authority are failing, whether it's the police or teachers or whatever it might be. So I'm not going to change the way that I do things. I will in some cases add the full video clip that I am dissecting to the end of the video, but only if I can continue to keep the clips relatively short. So with that said, let's move on with today's video.
Right, we're having a bit of a nightmare. Alex ordered beer and he doesn't have his ID on him. He took a sip of it and this guy's kicking off bad and he's ringing the police and blocking the stairs so he can't leave.
Okay, so what is legal and what is illegal when it comes to buying or drinking alcohol on licensed premises? It's actually quite complicated, but I personally think that the person who works in the bar there that you've just seen is actually acting unlawfully. This is the Drink Aware website. This is the website that's printed across every alcohol advert in the UK. On here, it talks about what is against the law and what is not against the law. It's against the law to sell alcohol to someone under 18 anywhere. It's against the law for an adult to buy or attempt to buy alcohol on behalf of somebody who's under 18. It's against the law for somebody under 18 to buy alcohol, attempt to buy alcohol, or to be sold alcohol. It's against the law for somebody under 18 to drink alcohol in licensed premises except where the child is 16 or 17 years, accompanied by an adult, and drinking with a table meal. It is also against the law for an adult to buy alcohol for somebody under 18 for consumption on licensed premises, and it is illegal to give children alcohol if they are under 5. Now, I've watched this whole thing. I'm going to go through the rest of it with you, very shortly, but it's not clear from the video whether he is actually under 18 or not. He purports that he is not. His friends purport that he is not. It just seems that he has forgotten his identification. But forgetting your identification isn't breaking a law. So, putting that to one side, it's against the law for somebody to sell alcohol to someone under 18. Now, the guy's clearly got a beer. Whether he brought it or whether one of his friends brought it for him is unclear at this point. So I've had to add this bit in after I already processed the footage, and I'm not going to make the whole video again. At the very beginning, it does say the person who's filming initially does say that Alex, the lad who gets arrested, did actually buy the beer, which then puts, apart from the fact that he is not allowed to buy beer, it's illegal for him to buy beer, you know, if he is under the age of 18, it also puts a criminal offence on the person who sold him the alcohol as well. So I just had to add that. Now let's get back to the original. But he has got a beer. So if he was served that himself, then The person who sold it to him has broken the law. The next point is illegal for an adult to buy or attempt to buy alcohol on behalf of somebody. So if one of his friends brought the round of beers, knowingly that he is under the age of 18, then they have broken the law. It's illegal for somebody under 18 to buy alcohol, attempt to buy alcohol, or be sold alcohol. So that's the same as the first point I've just been through. If he had willingly purchased a beer knowing he was underage, then he has broken the law, but so has the person behind the bar who sold him the drink. It's illegal for somebody under 18 to drink alcohol in a licensed premises except where the child is 16 or 17, accompanied by an adult and drinking their drink with a table meal. Well, in this particular situation, the other kids, there's no issue with the other kids that are there. I call them kids, but there's no issue with the other people that are there. They seem to have been, shown their identification, and the pub's happy that they're all old enough. But if they purchased the drink, and they're all sitting down clearly eating a meal at a table, then that's not illegal. So the lad has done nothing wrong in that situation. And then it's illegal for an adult to buy alcohol for somebody under 18 for consumption on licensed premises, which means if he's one of his friends brought the round and knowingly that he was under the age, allowed him to drink it, then they have broken the law. And it's illegal to give alcohol to children under the age of 5, which clearly wasn't the case here. But nearly every single one of these points puts the bar or his friends at fault. There's only one incident here that would put the young lad who's being accused of being underage at fault. And that's if he went to buy the beer himself. But even then, the bar are at fault as well for selling it to him. So it's a shared responsibility. So with that in mind, let's see what happens next.
Oh, it's not.
Can we stop recording as well, otherwise you will be behind as well. Thank you. So it's this gent here that is drinking without the ID. I've taken the alcohol away.
Hey boys, nice meal, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's all right. Verbally abused.
Off you go then, chaps.
I just got to finish the meal.
Excuse me.
Sorry,
You in the blonde shirt. In the blonde white shirt.
blonde shirt.
Okay, you've got to leave because the man will ask you to leave, alright?
Alex, if you've got to leave, take your meal with
Off you
you.
go, please.
Oh yeah, guys.
Off you go.
Can you get a takeaway box?
Alex, I'm going to make a Can I get a takeaway box? I'll get another one, I'll help you out, no worries.
You know there's cameras up there? If you continue to behave this way, all we'll do is we'll circulate your images to the other pubs and we'll put you on pub watch so you'll be banned.
That's alright.
This little piggy went to market, this little piggy stayed at home. This little piggy had roast beef, and that little piggy starts throwing threats about with no reasonable or valid cause for doing so. You've just seen these two police officers walk into the pub, and the first thing the fat bald pig says is,
Off you go then, chaps.
I mean, where is the training that the police are given? Go to an incident, find out what the situation is, interpret the situation the best that you can, and come to a reasonable conclusion. This is clearly a case of corporate policing, okay? This is where somebody from, it's a civil matter. It's not really a legal matter as far as I'm concerned. The pub owner or the pub staff want the lad to leave the pub. Regardless to what is done for the moment, they want him to leave the pub, which then makes it a trespass because it's private property, it's a privately owned building. Therefore, it becomes a civil matter. Not once have I heard through this video, and you'll hear for yourself, anybody try to ascertain who the lad is. Let's see if we can find out how old he is, and make sure that no law has actually, in fact, been broken. Absolutely nowhere at all. I get really annoyed with the fact that police storm into situations with absolutely no idea of what's going on and clearly no intent to try and find out what's going on other than throwing their weight around.
It's not worth doing, so just head out.
So you're not eating, so you can leave. It's him, is it?
Yeah, he's
so you can leave right away because you're not eating.
I'm waiting for my order.
Right, okay. Licensing Act, if the landlord doesn't want you in the pub, okay, then you have to leave. If he has to ask you to leave...
I'm going to have a look at that myself. I think I'm missing points out.
Oh, ring the lawyer, ring Lee. Oh, fuck's sake, ring.
Like I
You're
said,
now
if you don't stop
preventing
recording,
you
you will
from
be
doing what
barred
you
as
do,
well.
okay? So,
Bring the lawyer, bring the lawyer.
I got to record my own protection, man. I don't want you saying anything. I'm ringing my lawyer. 1 second. 1 second. We're speaking to my lawyer. 1 second.
Just in case you missed that, the text across the screen was quite quick and it was cut off on one side. The person that they're calling, who they call Lee, is not in fact a lawyer. It's just somebody who will pretend to be a lawyer on the other end of the phone, which I don't agree with doing, but you know, these guys did it. I just thought I'd explain that point to you.
1 sec.
If you're going to cause issues, they're not going to have you.
Thank you.
Hello, Lee. Are you free to speak for a minute? Well, I'm going to pass you over to Alex, because Alex is having a bit of a problem right now. We've got the police here in Weatherspoons. Alex, Lee wants to speak to you.
Right, I'm sorry about this. Well, it's not really. You've got police here.
Right, you got to go.
No, speaking to a lawyer.
You got to
I'm not
go.
going to say
No,
any
you
words.
got to go now.
So, in my Weatherspoons,
I'm going to arrest you in 30 seconds if you don't get up and leave.
I'm going to arrest you in 30 seconds if you don't get up and leave. I'm going to arrest you in 30 seconds if you don't get up and leave. Now, that clearly is a threat of assault. It's a threat of assault towards the chap who they haven't even asked his age. They haven't asked if he's got any ID, which they should have done because that's what they were called for. They were called because somebody who they believe is to be underage is drinking. So the first thing they should have done is try to ascertain if that was actually the case or not. But all they've done is literally turned up, said get out, which in itself shouldn't be allowed because they're sitting down having a meal. And when I say it shouldn't be allowed, what should be taken into consideration is that the pub have taken their money. If the police then want everybody to leave, the police should be trying to deal with the situation as a whole. They should be saying, right, these chaps have brought some food, you know, some of them have eaten, some of them haven't, you know, refund them and then we'll get them off out, you know, on their way. But there was none of that. Again, this is a case of the police just throwing their weight around. They don't want to know what's going on. When it comes to a corporation, when it comes to a business phoning the police will always happily side with the business initially. They will always be on the side of the business initially. If two members of the public phone, what normally happens is one officer will take one person, another officer will take another person, they'll discuss the situation with those people, they'll get their stories, and the two policemen will go back and say, right, well, this person said that, that person said that, let's see what bits are true, let's see what bits aren't, let's work out where we go from here. That never happens when it comes to a corporation employing the services of the police to deal with a situation.
He's speaking to a lawyer.
Peace, all right?
Preach the peace.
Preach of the peace!
Ah, that old chestnut. Yes, officer, of course. Breach of the peace. By me not agreeing with you or not complying with you, that's breaching the peace. I really think breach of the peace needs to be rewritten and defined a bit more carefully so that police officers cannot just simply pull that one out of the hat anytime that somebody disagrees with them, in the hope that they will either be frightened enough to agree with them, or in the case where they do not agree with them, they have something there to actually teach them a lesson with.
He's giving you the count, Alex. Alex, wait, 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7. What? Man arrested for drinking beer. Man arrested for drinking beer. Oh my God! It's a world first. Man is arrested for drinking beer.
Get closer.
He's loving this. Oh my goodness. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well done, mate.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Yeah, guys,
Feel
you're
good.
all good.
Alex. Feel good.
Oh, you come here, film this.
Yeah.
19-year-old getting arrested for drinking.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You loosen the handcuffs, because in the cell, do you know what they're about? You loosen the handcuffs.
Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I think that this police officer is acting off of emotion rather than off of his training. And the reason I say that is, first of all, is handcuffing the guy behind his back. Now, although there's nothing in the application of handcuffs training that's issued by ACPO or the National Police Chiefs Council or the College of Policing, they are taught to use certain handcuffing methods in certain situations. Now, this is an issue that I've had myself. I was handcuffed for taking photographs. I was arrested and I was put in a rear stack position. Now, I have since put in a freedom of information request to over 45 police forces in England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland to ask them about their policies with regards to handcuffing, when somebody should be rear stack handcuffed, for example. And most of what I've had back so far, and I've not had them all back yet, so I've not done a video about it, but most of what I've had back so far suggests that you only put, or they're taught to put violent or aggressive people in rear handcuffs. Most of them say that they train their police officers to put the rear palms out position. But again, in situations where the person they are arresting is or potentially could be a threat to them or somebody else. This guy seriously was no threat to anybody. The police officer has handcuffed him behind his back because of his emotions have taken over. He felt belittled. He felt that he needed to assert his authority because he wasn't being listened to. The other thing that makes me think that this police officer is acting on emotion rather than on training is the fact that health and safety is very important when it comes to police doing their job, especially when it comes to the health and safety of members of the public, or at least it should be. Handcuffing somebody to the rear, whether you're holding them or not, and then having to go down that tight spiral staircase is a dangerous situation to be in. If the lad had tripped, there is no way the police officer would have been able to hold on to him enough to prevent them both from falling down, or to prevent the lad from falling down on his own, which could have caused serious injury. Again, we go back to the fact that police officers tend to, rather than base their actions on their training, it all boils down to their emotional state at the time. Some situations I can completely get. If somebody is being attacked by somebody with a, as we've seen in previous videos, by somebody with a machete, for example, then, there's, no rules really. Everything goes out the window and you do what you have to do to survive, whether you're a police officer or whether you're a member of the public. Preservation of life is more important than a broken bone or a broken nose or whatever it might be. So you have to do whatever is in your power to do to preserve your life or the life of people around you in those situations. But in this situation, there's absolutely, number one, no reason why the lad should have been handcuffed behind his back. Absolutely no reason at all. Number two, he certainly shouldn't have been handcuffed behind the back whilst the police officer was taking him down that very tight, very thin, winding staircase.
Mate, can you loosen the handcuffs? They're actually causing a lot of pain.
Relax, man. You're a dickhead.
Loosen the handcuffs, please. They're causing a lot of pain.
I'm not refusing.
Harry, come. Are the cuffs really necessary? 2 police cars, bro. 2 police cars. Wow.
You have to show off in front of everyone, don't you? You have to make a scene. You have to show off in front of everyone. You haven't even arrested me properly.
You've not given him his rights.
Haven't even read out my rights. You arrested me straight away.
Chap, if you're going to film, you can
Oh, you
film
haven't
everyone.
No, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
You can film over there.
Nah, it's a public area. I can film wherever I want. Don't lay hands on me again.
Well, as you can see, this video has taken me some time to do and the lighting has got a lot darker. But there is a little bit more to that video. The reason I've cut it out is because it's not important to what I've been discussing. But My point about this video is that the police have turned up at an incident with absolutely no idea whether the boy is legal to be in there or not. You know, they made no attempt whatsoever to ascertain if he was in fact old enough. They could have done that with a PNC check, for example. You know, if the lad was at college or university, there are ways that the police could have found that out. The police woman starts threatening with, oh, we're going to put you on pub watch and this, that and the other if you don't do as you're told. No, bollocks, don't go around threatening people. Do your job. Your job is not to try and impose yourself and your threats onto people. Your job is to uphold the law, okay, and determine whether somebody has broken the law or not. It's not to storm in somewhere like a fucking headless pig and start throwing accusations around and then threaten people with violence by threatening to arrest them without even giving them a reason for arresting them, and then coming up with public order offences. You don't know what you're talking about. And I hope there are police officers watching this, because seriously, you go about your daily business, right, with these blinkers on, okay, and then something happens and you just don't, your brain just doesn't slip into gear and you start making things up. You, rather than determining what the situation is about, you start throwing one accusation after another until you find one that suits your narrative for that incident, and then you run with that. I rarely see a police officer attend a situation, actually work out what has gone on, and then arrest somebody under the correct charge. It's rare. It does happen, but it's rare because police just don't engage their brains anymore. It's a case of assert your authority at all costs, even if that cost is the reputation or damage or injury to somebody else. Just don't seem to care. I think this situation goes to show that, number one, the police haven't got a clue about the law themselves. Otherwise they would have said, well, who served him? Right, well, they're coming in as well. Until we can determine whether or not this lad is of age, then the person who served him's broken the law and you're coming in as well. There's none of that. Absolutely none of it. Anyway, I'm going to allow the whole of that clip to play now. So for those of you who do like to moan at me for not doing it, this one's for you. Although I can assure you, apart from what I've already shown you, there's not really a lot more to see. But enjoy anyway, and until next time, thank you for watching.
10, 9, 8, 7. Right, we're having a bit of a nightmare. Alex ordered a beer and he doesn't have his ID on him. He took a sip of it, and this guy's kicking off bad and he's ringing the police and blocking the stairs so he can't leave. Yeah, and Ricky's ordered a banana. And some apples.
Oh, you've gone?
He's gone.
So have you given up?
Oh, it's not.
Right, can we stop recording as well, otherwise you will be bothered as well.
I do.
So it's this gent here that is drinking without the ID. I've taken the alcohol away.
Hey boys, nice meal, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's alright.
Verbally abusive. Off you go then, chaps.
I just got to finish the meal.
Excuse me.
Sorry,
You in the blonde shirt. You in the blonde white shirt. Blonde shirt. Okay, you've got to leave because the man will ask you to leave, right?
Alex, if you've got to leave, take your meal with
Off you
you.
go, please.
Oh yeah, guys.
Off you go.
Can you get a takeaway bowl? Alex, I'm gonna nick a chicken. Can I get a takeaway bowl?
I'll get another one, I'll help you out, no worries.
You know there's cameras up there? If you continue to behave this way, all we'll do is we'll circulate your images to the other pubs and we'll put you on pub watch so you'll be bagged.
That's alright.
It's not worth doing, so just head off.
So you're not eating, so you can leave. It's in, is it?
Yeah, he's
So you can leave right away because you're not eating.
I'm waiting for my order.
Right, okay. Licensing Act, if the landlord doesn't want you in the pub, okay, then you have to leave. If he has to ask you to leave,
I'm going to have a look at that myself. I think I'm missing points out.
Oi, ring the lawyer, ring Lee.
Signal to ring.
Oh, fuck's sake, ring.
Like I
you're
said,
now
don't stop
preventing
recording,
you
you
from
will
doing
be
what
bothered
you
as
do,
well.
okay?
I'm
Ring the lawyer, ring the lawyer.
I gotta record for my own protection, man. I don't want you saying anything. I'm ringing my lawyer. 1 second. 1 second. We're speaking to our lawyer. 1 second.
Bottom line, bud, this is private property. We don't
1
want
sec.
you to be on it.
Oh, you got your box.
They're going to cause issues. They're not going to have you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Hello, Lee. Are you free to speak for a minute? Well, I'm gonna pass you over to Alex because Alex is having a bit of a problem right now. We've got the police here in Weatherspoons. Alex, Lee wants to speak to you.
Well, I'm sorry about this. Well, it's not really. You've got police here.
Right, you got to go.
And I'm speaking to a lawyer.
You got to
so I don't
go.
want to say any
You got
words
to go now.
So, in my Weatherspoons,
I'm going to arrest you in 30 seconds if you can have and leave.
He's speaking to a
Okay,
lawyer.
preach the peace, all right?
preach the peace.
Preach of the peace!
Can you explain that law to me?
20 seconds.
Oh, that one 10 seconds. He's giving you the count, Alex.
10 seconds.
Alex, wait. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7. What? Man arrested for drinking beer. Man arrested for drinking beer. Oh my God! It's a world first. Man is arrested for drinking beer.
Get closer.
He's loving this.
Oh my goodness. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well done, mate. Yeah, mission accomplished.
Yeah, guys,
Feel
you're
good.
good.
Feel good. Now you got an arrest.
Oh, you come here, film this.
Oh, 19-year-old getting arrested for drinking. Oh, for fuck's
Can you loosen the handcuffs? Because in the cell, do you know what I'm about? Can you loosen the handcuffs? Wait, can you loosen the handcuffs? It actually caused me a lot of pain.
relax, man. You're a
Can you
dickhead.
loosen the handcuffs? It caused me a lot of pain.
I'm not refusing. Harry, come. Are the cuffs really necessary? 2 police cars, bro. 2 police cars. Wow.
You have to show off in front of everyone, don't you? You have to make a scene. You have to show off in front of everyone. You haven't even arrested me, Pop. You haven't given
You've not given him his rights.
Haven't even read out my rights. You arrested me straight away.
Chap, if you're going to film, you
Oh,
can
you
film
have
everyone.
Nah, nah, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
You can film over there.
Nah, it's a public area. I can film wherever I want. Don't lay hands on me again.
I haven't been
Move back now.
Whoa.
Move back now. He's got a taser, boy.
Oh, man's got the hand on the taser.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever witnessed in my life.
Free Alex. Hashtag free Alex Sparrow. Free Alex. Good boy.
Alex, don't worry, man.
Move away, move away.
Alex,
Move away.
I used my right hand. Oh no.
guys, how is this a thing?
This shouldn't have happened.
Wait, when your house gets robbed, wait. When your house gets robbed, these people are nowhere to be seen. But you drink a beer in Weatherspoons. Look how many we've got here. Amazing.
1, 2, 3.
Guys,
It's kind of true though. 2 cars. Oh, where's my lens cap? Oh,
amazing.
I've got it, bro. Don't you worry.
Boys, enjoy your evening, or do whatever else you want to do.
Just go get our food, yeah? Huh?
No.
Ali called?
One of the fans called.
Ali? I think Ali. They give him lots of bread.
For fuck's sake.
Most fucked up thing ever. We try and get a meal in Weatherspoons. Alex ends up arrested for taking a sip of beer. Fuck
He
me.
didn't even read him his rights.
He's 18 as well.
He didn't read him his rights. They can't arrest him.
He's not even 18, he's 20.
Good night, all.